I have a question for you. Do you ever find that any of these common drawing mistakes limit your potential?
Yeah, you've probably experienced it. It's the normal way that most of us learn to draw. Most of the time, it's also the way that we naturally teach ourselves to draw when we're left on our own to just figure it out.
You might have been drawing for years, or perhaps you've just bought your first how-to book from your local craft store. But either way, there's a really good chance that your drawings, as good as they are, wouldn't argue with having a few new pencil tricks that you could use on them.
And there's even a good chance that you find that your current drawing approach leaves you locked in and prevents you from going back and correcting those mistakes that you don't notice until it's already too late. And then when you do go try to fix those issues, your heroic efforts leave you with high blood pressure and an I quit mood hanging over you.
As surprising as it may seem, many times artists, aspiring or not, find that this normal approach leaves their drawings feeling flat, yawn-inducing, maybe even a little bit cartoonish, and they're certainly not the get up and walk off the page, stop you in your tracks masterpieces that they had set out to make. The good news, though, is that there is a simple answer to this frustration, and we have a little story to tell you about somebody named Bonnie in just a second. But first, I just need to mention to you that since there is something that is time-sensitive that we want to share with you in just a few moments, this presentation that you're watching is only going to be hanging around here for a short period of time. So just be sure to watch this as soon as you can so that you don't miss out.
Okay, so now for that story. Last week, our friend Bonnie sat down at her kitchen table to draw a picture of her newborn granddaughter. After sketching out the outlines on her paper, Bonnie decided to start with her granddaughter's cheeks. There before her were these two large areas of subtly changing color. So following that natural drawing method that we all kind of gravitate towards, Bonnie took her pencil and started to fill in each cheek so that each one seemed to be about the same value as what she saw in the photo that she was drawing from.
Now, while she was looking at her reference photo, Bonnie noticed that there were several places where the cheeks seemed to actually be a little bit lighter. So, to match what she saw, she got out her kneaded eraser and began scrubbing away at her drawing in the areas that she wanted to lighten up. But somehow, isolated in the middle of that big white sheet of paper, those dark areas of pencil with the smudge marks didn't quite look like cheeks. They were kind of smudgy, and they stood out like sore thumbs on the white paper surrounding the dark patches of pencil. Yet Bonnie figured she'd plot ahead and maybe everything would come together as she added the other features. So the next thing on her agenda was her granddaughter's sweet little nose. The nose actually looked like it was about the same value as the cheeks, so Bonnie took her pencil and filled in the nose to be that same value on her paper in the drawing. But that made the nose nearly disappear. It now blended right into the rest of the face, and Bonnie couldn't tell where the cheeks ended and the nose began. Bonnie figured that may cause a little bit of confusion, this whole missing nose thing. So, to fix that problem, she took her pencil and she drew dark outlines to try and create some kind of suggestion that there was a nose on her granddaughter's face.
Bonnie continued filling in and then outlining each of the rest of the facial features: the forehead, the lips, the ears, the eyes. Then, stepping back from her drawing, Bonnie realized that as she had scrubbed her pencil back and forth to fill in each area, it had left stop and start marks where the pencil looped each time it changed directions. And when she went on to fill in the neighboring area, the pencil either overlapped the last portion and made it even darker, or in some places didn't overlap, leaving gaps. So now, overcome with a growing sense of frustration, Bonnie resorted to her blending stump, which can be a very useful tool in many cases. She began grinding away, trying to smear the pencil values together to take out the harsh, overlapping pencil marks and fill in the gaps. This made the line somewhat smooth, but the blending tool had changed the texture along the overlapping portions. So, to get a consistent texture, Bonnie continued blending away across the whole drawing, trying to make everything look consistent. After all this work, not only was Bonnie's arm aching quite a bit, but she discovered another problem. Everything in the drawing just seemed to run together. The edges of the face seemed to blend right into the neck and the ears, and the hard outlines that had been around the eyes went from Saturday morning cartoon to bad mascara job. There were also areas that were clearly too dark, plus Bonnie noticed that the eyes weren't quite in the right place either.
With this process that Bonnie had followed so far, She had pressed really hard and had ground the pencil graphite into the paper, causing damage to the paper fibers. So now there was no way to cleanly erase anything. The areas that had gotten too dark couldn't be lightened very well. The eyes couldn't be moved without serious damage to the paper. And even in the places where the graphite might have been removable, there were indentations in the paper that would always be there, ruining Bonnie's drawing. Of course, Bonnie could have been drawing a freshly budding spring flower, her favorite riding horse, a mountain landscape, or her snuggly kitty cat. But no matter what the subject was, Bonnie would have still gotten the same, not quite what she'd hoped for results following this natural drawing process that we're all prone to get sucked into.
See, we all know somewhere in the back of our minds that noses, lips, eyes, and ears don't actually have coloring book outlines around them in real life. And cheeks aren't flat, scratchy pencil marks with jagged ends where each pencil stroke begins and ends. And skin, as well as rose petals, favorite horses, and rocks in a mountainscape, have texture. And that texture isn't going to look right with a super shiny blending stump job that burnishes the paper and can't be erased. So Bonnie is now left with a drawing that doesn't show her granddaughter's beautiful face the way she had intended, and now she has no way of fixing it on this piece of paper. She's just going to have to start over again.
But what's going to ensure that Bonnie's next drawing will turn out any better? And an even better question is, what is going to make sure that your next drawing has the awe-inducing impact that you imagine the next time you sit down in front of a blank sheet of drawing paper waiting expectantly on the table in front of you?
It makes sense that the only way to get out of this rut is to find a new, more effective approach. It should be an approach that lets you develop your own unique style, that lets you create the art that you've always imagined, an approach that makes you the master of the tools in your toolbox, and an approach that gives you an understanding of the universal visual principles that every artist must use to communicate with their viewers.
The great news for anyone that's looking for a better way to draw is that's exactly what you're going to find with the exceptional drawing methods that Daryl Tank has developed over a career in illustration spanning now nearly 5 decades. And Daryl freely shares his secrets for learning to draw with his 5-pencil method in a series of 8 art classes. It's not a magic approach. It's simply a different way to draw that will give you better results.
Yeah, like when you build a house, you start from the ground up, right? First the foundation, then the walls, and then finally the roof. Can you imagine trying to start with the roof and then adding the walls and then finally ending with the foundation? It's a recipe for disaster. Daryl Tank offers a much more effective alternative. The 5-pencil method works like building blocks. You'll start with a firm foundation by learning the principles and fundamentals, and then build up your skill set from there. With one new technique mastered, you'll be introduced to another one that takes what you've learned and adds to it. That new skill paves the way for another new skill, and on and on and on, until you're drawing more realistically than you ever thought possible.
And as the name of this method suggests, there are 5 pencils that you're going to become well acquainted with as you take your drawing to the next level. Just like the members of an orchestra or the players on a team, each pencil plays an important role in the overall success of your portrait or anything else that you're drawing. You'll start with the hardest pencils, that's the 4H and the 2H, to lay down a solid foundation, and then you'll build up your value, it's the walls in our house analogy, with your softer pencils, the HB, 2B, and 4B, one layer at a time. This keeps you in control of your values at all times. And here's the great thing about being in control of your drawing process. When you're deliberately rendering the features of the subject in your drawing, you'll be able to capture each detail that matters. The unique shape of your subject's nose, the exact way that the wrinkles form around the eyes as they light up with joy, the subtle dimples that are created in the soft cheeks as a smile spreads across the lips. And, as you've probably guessed, when you're able to capture the details accurately in your drawings, you will also convey more subtle things like how your subject is feeling, what's going through their head even, and maybe even the story of the life that they have lived.
Of course, the improvements that you'll see don't end with drawing all the humans that you love so much. Your favorite pets will thank you. Those landscapes that have inspired you for so long will take on a new life. And a theme that Daryl's students comment on frequently is how they now see the world through new eyes. By learning and mastering Daryl Tank's secrets to drawing, they have found that their skills with oil painting, acrylics, watercolors, mixed media, and their many other artistic pursuits have grown by leaps and bounds. And that problem that Bonnie was facing, where she would try to fill in a large area of color but was left with unattractive overlaps and gaps at the end of the pencil strokes, that's not even an issue with the 5-pencil method. By design, the tapered stroke starts and ends with a light, feathered edge, so you can connect as many strokes as you need to without the ugly joints that occur when just filling in large areas with the side of your pencil or using the default scrubbing approach. Now, using blending stumps, tissues, fingers, or old rags to spread and blend graphite can be effective in some cases, but if these methods are relied on too heavily, you run the high risk of damaging your paper and creating a finished product that's muddy or looks like plastic. Not to mention it can get messy, frustrating, and the drawing can quickly spin out of control if you're not super careful.
Okay, but let's face it, accidents can happen with any method. It's easy to unintentionally add too much value to one area so that it becomes out of balance with the rest of the drawing. But the great news is that if you've built up your values properly, removing that extra graphite safely is no problem. Daryl refers to it as backing up the value, and he'll teach you the essential erasing techniques that you need to avoid costly, not to mention some downright depressing, damages to your artwork. And also, while we're on that subject of erasing, did you know that the eraser can be just as effective of a drawing tool as your pencils? It's true. If your graphite has been applied properly on the paper, you can come back in with your eraser and easily remove precise areas of value. It's just like a pencil, just backwards.
So, we've talked about the power that your pencils have with the 5-pencil method and how the eraser can be an effective tool as well. We've also talked about how easy it is to stay in control by building up values slowly, but the method teaches even more. You'll also learn the universal visual concepts so that you can use them to your benefit. You'll learn principles like how light works, how clean edges and subtle contour are used to control the viewer's perception, and much, much more. All of these concepts will add insane depth and dimension to your drawings and change the way you think about the pencil and paper forever. Now, all great lessons in life have to be practiced to be learned. Just hearing about Daryl's exciting method isn't enough to improve your own drawing. That's why with each lesson in the series, you receive handouts, diagrams, and homework instructions to really drive home the important skills and help you excel. But don't confuse this homework with the homework from your childhood. When you truly begin to get drawing, practicing and growing can be the most fun you'll ever have.
We think you'll agree that it's time that you stop stressing out every time you sit down to draw. Drawing is a hobby, after all, right? It's an escape from the daily grind, and there's no reason you shouldn't enjoy it to the fullest. So we invite you to lower your blood pressure, unclench your fists, pick up a pencil, and discover all of the drawing secrets available from Daryl Tank's Art Studio lessons number 1 through 8. In the 5-pencil method store, these 8 drawing lessons regularly go for $79.99, but we'd like to give you one more reason why you should start right now. So, instead of charging you the whole $80, we're going to cut that down to this low price that you see right here. All you have to do is just click on that button below to get started right now. And speaking of starting right now, there's even an option to download these lessons so you can literally begin within the next few minutes.
As a student of the 5-pencil method, you're in good company. Tens of thousands of students have taken Daryl's courses and discovered their passion. The 5-pencil method online community gives you the option to have instant access to many of the former and current students of Daryl's method. And you can breathe easy knowing that you're not only going to improve your drawing skills, but you can join a network of artists who have been where you are today and are eager to share their successes with you. Here are a few examples of the drawings that these students have been creating.
What do you think? How would you like to be able to draw like this? Now, if your first reaction is, hey, wait a minute, there's no way I'll ever draw like that. You know what? Don't let that first reaction scare you. Because whenever these 3 students first started, they didn't start out thinking, I'm going to draw exactly like this either. And yet, after they put Daryl's methods into practice, that's exactly what happened. As you can see plainly right here, they were able to achieve these incredible results. Let's move on and take a look at a before and after. What can I say? It speaks for itself. And Lee has left this amazing comment about how Daryl was such an easy artist to understand and how his style was easy to follow and he found it so enjoyable. Let's take a look at another before and after. Hey, another one that speaks for itself. Let's take a look at this one from John Middick. And John has left this amazing comment as well about how, Daryl's technique was really the spark that brought art back into his life. And if it hadn't been for the tools and the technique that Daryl had recommended, that John would have felt discouraged and given up a long time ago. Now let's look at another before and after. This one from Sarah. Again, something that totally speaks for itself. A picture's worth 1,000 words, so this should be worth 2,000 words right here. Let's look at one more before and after here from Jack, continuing our cowboy theme. And now let's look at one last one from Brenda. And Brenda leaves us with this comment here that she left, that she's so grateful and she cherishes her luck every day because of the many, many happy hours that drawing has brought into her retirement years. And if it hadn't been for Daryl's extremely thorough and patient teaching, and his amazing talent and insight, that she didn't feel like she would have been able to realize this dream of experiencing art in her retirement years. As you can clearly see, contrary to the popular myth that you're either born with artistic ability or you aren't, you actually can develop new art skills. There's no reason that you need to settle for drawings that don't live up to everything that you could become. You've seen what Daryl's instruction has done for other artists who thought that they could never go anywhere, so you know that it's possible to take your skills much further. And as these students can assure you, Daryl Tank is no stranger to teaching. His drawing methods and dynamic teaching ability have been inspiring artists for the past 13 years. Whether in a live studio setting or most recently through his online art studio classes, Daryl's laid-back style and easy-to-follow instruction have made drawing accessible to tens of thousands of aspiring artists.
Daryl has mastered the art of drawing and has devoted his life to sharing what he knows with aspiring artists all over the world. The 5-pencil method isn't a magic potion. It is a well-thought-out, step-by-step method that, when practiced and applied, will increase your drawing skills faster than you may have ever imagined possible. You won't waste precious time trying to figure out your next move. Each step is laid out in a logical, easy-to-follow format that you'll love and will help your own artistic passion to blossom. And don't worry, it doesn't take away your personality and individual expression. That's all still you. These methods just give you the skills so that you can deliberately follow a path to create the art that you've always wanted to.
Of course, all of that alone should be enough reason to jump on getting these lessons right now. But we've got one more reason that you don't want to waste another second. Like every 5-pencil method tutorial, this set comes with a full 1-year satisfaction guarantee. That means that you've got absolutely zero risk. If you get these classes and you decide that it isn't everything that you hoped it would be, you can pop it back in the mail. Or if you get the download version, you just delete the files, and we'll give you every single penny back. Absolutely no questions asked.
As you can see, the 5-pencil method really works. It's a proven, defined method for achieving amazing results. There have been tens of thousands of students who have tried it and been thrilled with the results, and have thrilled many others with the beautiful artwork that they have been able to create. Plus, the classes are fully guaranteed, so you're only taking a risk if you don't start test driving them today and see how they can improve your drawing skills. Click the button below now to join all the other happy 5-pencil method students and start trying out Daryl's drawing lessons right now. The button is right here.
Of course, it's a free world. No one is forcing you to realize your full potential. But why waste this opportunity to take your drawing skills to the next level? Don't miss out on this big discount today. And don't be haunted by the ghost of what might have been, by the unrealized masterpieces that might have become cherished family heirlooms, the memories of your favorite animal friends, and the fulfillment that new achievements can bring to life. Even though you probably could purchase these 5-pencil method tutorials tomorrow at the regular price, Your chance to get today's discounted offer ends very soon, as you can see on this little countdown timer. So just click on the button below before it's too late, and you miss out on this opportunity to save while scaling new heights with your drawing abilities.